you automate HubSpot with N8N? So to do that, you basically need to set up a HubSpot credential with N8N. So how you do it is, let's say I have a workflow which actually creates some sort of, contact in the HubSpot. So what you do is you click on this plus, and then you basically just need to search for HubSpot. This is a node that we'll be looking into. And then there are multiple actions that you could choose from. We'll basically be doing create a contact. So this is the contact, create or update a contact. Click on this. And now this is the credential that you need to set up. So you click on this, create new credential. And then what you need to do is basically use the app token because this one is the one that it's latest and that is the most recommended way to connect. So you click on open docs. Now basically you need to have a developer HubSpot account. So how do you get that is basically go to developers.hubspot.com and then you create a developer account. So this developer account, you can actually try to link it with your original HubSpot account as well. So in my case, I am already using this as my HubSpot account. So I just continue with this user. And then I'll just select the one that I have. This is my HubSpot account. And now once you are in the developer portal, what you have to do is basically go to legacy app. So you go to legacy app and then you create a legacy app. And then this time it's going to be a private app. So click on this private app. And then you just need to add the app name. So I'll do N8N integration for HubSpot. So again, you can do, you can name it as you want, keep the description as well. Then we need to add the scopes. Now scopes are actually a way that, are kind of permissions. So your N8N instance is going to request few permissions to be able to access whatever is required, right? So how you do that is, for my case, I'll basically want to create a new contact. So there is a HubSpot credential doc that kind of mentions every single permission that you actually want to add. In my case, I can choose these two permissions, which is read and write for the contacts. So this is the read. And then if I want to also, if I also want to write a new contact to HubSpot, then I just need to do it as write permission as well. So by the way, everything is going to get documented to my community, which is GoBuildWithAI.com. Just join it, and then you'll be able to get a lot out of it, which is how you do and build agents with N8N and how you actually do everything with N8N. So going back to the overall setup. So how you do it is basically just add a new scope. And then what we are trying to do is basically just copy this part. This is again based on whatever you want to do. In my case, I'll be reading the contacts and I will also be writing the contacts. So that's it. Those two permissions are needed. Click on update. And then what you do is click on create new app. So it will give you a warning. Please make sure this token, whatever it's being created, you should not share this. Continue creating. Okay, once this is done, you basically get a new app. And now what you need to do is go to auth section, wherein you'll have access to the token. So now what you need to do is click on show token. Make sure you're not, basically you're not sharing this with anyone, because this is actually a, very sensitive data. And then copy. You go back to N8N, you paste the app token over here, and then click on save. Once this is saved, basically you'll get a message saying connection tested successfully, which means we are now able to connect to a HubSpot. And now what just we need to do is select the credential that we have just set up, which is this one. And the resource that we are going to do is contact, because I just want to create a new contact. And then the operation that I'm going to do is create or update. And then let's say I'm going to add abc@gmail.com. And then you can also add multiple properties, just like annual revenue, buying role, city. These are all fields that are actually mapped out to HubSpot if you see the contacts list. So right now I have got like few contacts over here. So this is like few emails, but what I do want to add is few more emails to it. So how you do that is basically just execute the steps. So I'll run this workflow. And then once this is done, this is passed. That means you now have a new contact over here. So if you just refresh this part, you get a new contact, which is abc@gmail.com. This is the new contact that got created. So that was on the HubSpot action node. Now, let's say if you want to set up automation in a way wherein if a new contact gets created on HubSpot, you basically need to do something else on n8n. So that was more of on the HubSpot action node, which means, let's say if you want to do some sort of action on HubSpot, you basically have to set up a trigger from n8n. Now, let's say you want to do the other way around, which is if some of the action happens on HubSpot, you basically get notified on n8n. That means, let's say if a contact gets created on HubSpot, you basically run automation on n8n. So how you do that is you actually can do it through HubSpot triggers, which is if you just search for HubSpot, and then you have a trigger node over here, which you can basically use, which is on company created, on company deleted, and all of these triggers actions. The thing is, I actually tried it myself and it was not working due to some issues with the OAuth. So I have actually a workaround to this, which is absolutely going to work. So what you do is, first thing that you do is create a webhook, which is just search webhook. And now this is actually the entry point of the n8n workflow. So what will happen is we'll basically just use this URL and we'll send it to HubSpot, and we'll basically mention that whenever a company gets created or whenever a contact gets created or whatever happens on HubSpot, we get notified to this email, to this URL. So what happens is, now once you can basically change the path. Let's say if I want to use a webhook, HubSpot, and I'll keep the HTTP method as post. You can set the next, you can keep the rest as it is. Now, what we need to do is basically copy this URL, whatever we have. So this is the HubSpot trigger. So I'll just copy this URL. This is my URL. And the app that we created, we basically do one thing, which is just add a new webhook. So you go to webhooks and then add the URL over here, which is webhooks. This is what you'll add. And then you basically will create a subscription. So you create a subscription, and the subscription that we are going to, I already happen to have one contact subscription. So I'll just unsubscribe this and then I'll restart from. So this is how you'll see the screen. If you have no subscription, so you added a URL, keep the event monitoring as it is, create a subscription, and then which type of object. So essentially what we are telling HubSpot is to notify us whenever any of the contact or company, or let's say anything, any other resources gets created, deleted, whichever action that you want to do. So let's say created. So it's asking for me to update my scope because I am actually asking a company's read. So for now, I'll just skip this part and I'll only do on contact created. And then what you do is just subscribe. Once this is done, you'll see a commit changes button. Just click on commit changes. This will make the changes saved. Now, what we do is, this is the webhook URL that we use basically. So you click on listen for test event. Now there are two things. If you have if let's say this workflow is active and you set it as to production, you have to basically set the production URL to HubSpot, else you can pretty much use test URL for testing. So this is the test URL. So I'll just listen for the event. So whenever something happens on HubSpot, we will basically get notified. So you go to CRM contacts, and now since our listening part is active, which means it's actually looking for some event, we'll just create a new contact. So create new. Let's say I'll do test growth price test 1 2 3, whatever you want to keep, and then just create this. Let's say it's already asking for email, so let me add the email, and then let me just create this out. Once this is created, you basically get the node trigger over here, which is all the headers and everything will be present over here. So this is how you will get the event type. So this is actually a change flag created, and what is actually the subscription type is contact.creation. And then all the rest you can basically use to carry forward your automation. So you can know how you can do it is you can use switch node over here, which basically routes your what do you call this flag, which is subscription type. So if your subscription type is equal to contact.creation, you basically use this, okay, this particular route, or you basically use the other route, which is, let's say if you want to do some sort of operation, if the subscription type is contact dot deletion, let's say whatever type that is going to be deletion. So you execute the steps, And now there are two routes. So this is, I'll just rename this part, rename output, created, rename output, and this is going to be deleted. So this is how you'll see. So if contact is created, you follow this. If contact is deleted, you follow this. So this is how you basically will be able to orchestrate events between HubSpot and N8N. Hope this video was helpful. If you want to learn more about how we can do automations around HubSpot, please let me know in the comment. And you can also join my community to gain free resources of building with AI. Link is in the description. Thank you.